What if your future isn't something you chase, but something that's already connected to you, waiting in the field? Not tomorrow, not someday, but right now. Quantum physics doesn't just suggest this, it confirms it. The future you desire is already coded in a frequency that exists. But here's the missing piece. Most people can't receive it, not because they aren't worthy, but because they're out of tune. You've been taught to hustle, to force, to wait for proof before you believe. But in the quantum realm, it works in reverse. You align first. You embody first. You feel it as true now, and then the field delivers it like a mirror. This video isn't about theories. It's about remembrance. You're not learning something new. You're remembering how to tune into who you already are, and the future that's been calling you all along. The invisible thread. Why your future is not separate. There is a thread unseen, untouched, but deeply felt that connects who you are now to who you are becoming. This thread does not stretch through time as we understand it. It moves through vibration. Your future isn't waiting somewhere ahead of you. It's already here, encoded in the field, vibrating patiently, waiting for you to remember the access point, alignment. You don't need to chase your future. You only need to match its frequency. Most people believe that the life they desire is separate, out there, somewhere in the distance. But the quantum truth is startlingly different. The future you desire is already formed not in physicality, but in frequency. When you realize this, everything changes. You stop asking, "How do I get there?" and start asking, "How do I become the one who lives there?" The field doesn't operate on distance. It operates on resonance. The version of you who already has the clarity, the peace, the abundance, that version is not a fantasy. It is a vibrational reality, already pulsing in the quantum field. What separates you from it is not effort, not time, not even knowledge. What separates you is identity. The moment you shift into the frequency of that identity, the field begins to rearrange to reflect it. It's not about becoming something new. It's about peeling away the noise of who you're not, the doubts, the conditioning, the stories that say you must struggle, wait, or suffer to become worthy. Your future doesn't require your pain. It requires your permission. And permission is granted the moment you decide to feel now what you thought was only available later. We've been taught to work toward goals linearly, plan, act, hustle. But in the quantum, it is being that initiates becoming. You must feel the emotions of the future as if they are your current truth, not to fake it, but to align with it. Because your nervous system, your heart field, your vibration, they don't wait for proof. They create it. This invisible thread between you and your future is not fragile. It is electric, alive, and intelligent. Every time you imagine your highest self and feel even a flicker of resonance with that version of you, the field lights up with possibility. You are not visualizing a fantasy, you are tuning your frequency to a parallel that already exists. Your job is not to pull your future toward you with force. Your job is to become so vibrationally compatible with it that reality folds to meet you. This is why surrender is power. When you release your grip on how and drop fully into the who, the field responds instantly. It is not measuring your hustle, it is measuring your coherence. Think about this. Have you ever had a moment where something aligned effortlessly? A conversation, a call, an idea, and it felt like magic? That was not coincidence. That was you, however briefly, vibrating as your future self. In those moments, the thread tightened. You were in sync. You didn't need to do more. You just needed to stay there longer. The most profound truth of this thread is that it never breaks. You cannot miss your future, but you can delay your experience of it by refusing to match its frequency. Resistance in the form of fear, doubt, or unworthiness creates static, but presence dissolves it. And when you become still enough, clear enough, brave enough to embody the feeling of already having it, the field delivers. You are not walking toward your destiny. You are awakening to it. Every aligned choice, every elevated emotion, every moment of conscious being tightens the thread. And eventually, the separation dissolves. You don't arrive, you merge. Not by reaching forward, but by pulling inward. That's how the future becomes now. So the next time you feel far from the life you envision, pause, close your eyes, breathe, feel the thread. It's not a metaphor, it's a mechanism. The field is listening, your future is pulsing, and your power lies in remembering. Nothing is separate. Not truly, not ever. You were never disconnected, just temporarily unaware. How forgetting happens. Conditioning, trauma, time. We are not born separate from our truth, we are taught to forget it. The forgetting doesn't happen in one moment. It's gradual, subtle, and socially reinforced. As children, we were still connected to the field. We felt without explanation. We imagined without boundaries. But then came the systems, education, culture, judgment. Each one replaced knowing with approval-seeking. Over time, the voice within dimmed, not because it vanished, but because it was drowned out. Conditioning is the slow replacement of inner wisdom with outer rules. We are told who we are, what's real, what's possible, and we believe it, not because it feels right, but because it feels safe. We exchange authenticity for belonging, intuition for logic, imagination for practicality. And with every trade, we drift further from the frequency of who we truly are. The quantum field didn't move, we just stopped tuning in. Trauma, whether acute or subtle, adds another layer. It teaches the nervous system to prioritize survival over expansion. If a moment of expression was met with shame, we begin to suppress. If love was conditional, we learn to shrink. Trauma isn't just what happened, it's what we learn to believe because of it. And most damaging of all, it teaches us that being ourselves is unsafe. So we fragment. And in the fragmentation, we forget. Time, as we perceive it, compounds the illusion. The further we walk through life believing we are separate, the more evidence we find to support that belief. Years pass, roles deepen, pain recycles, and the memory of our true power fades beneath layers of identity. But this forgetting isn't permanent, it's programmed. And what is programmed can be rewritten. The field doesn't forget who you are, even if you do. Beneath all the conditioning and pain is the original signal, still intact, still waiting. It whispers in your dreams, your synchronicities, your quiet longings. The ache you feel isn't failure, it's remembrance trying to surface. You're not lost, you're layered. And healing isn't about becoming more, it's about remembering what's underneath. The world teaches you to seek your worth externally in achievements, validation, status. But the quantum doesn't respond to performance. It responds to presence. And presence only returns when you stop pretending to be what you're not. The work, then, is not to strive, but to soften, to strip away everything you adopted just to be loved. Forgetting also happens when we idolize logic over feeling. The intellect becomes a shield against the unknown. We analyze what we should be sensing. We question what we should be trusting. But the field speaks in emotion, in vibration, not in facts but in frequencies. And when we become numb to those frequencies, we lose the language of the universe itself. Cultural programming convinces us that everything of value is outside of us. That change must be forced. That results must be earned through suffering. But that is not quantum law. That is the illusion of separation, the belief that you and the thing you desire are two different things. In truth, they are entangled. The only barrier is the frequency of forgetting. The path home isn't linear, it's vibrational. You can't force your way back to the truth. You have to feel your way. You have to unlearn. You have to sit in stillness long enough for the static of conditioning to fade. You have to question every belief that tells you you're not enough. And in that quiet, the original signal begins to pulse again. When you begin to remember who you are beneath the roles, the wounds, and the weight, something radical happens. The field responds, not to your effort, but to your essence. The timeline shifts. The inner child breathes. And suddenly, you feel the thread again. The one that never broke, only blurred. Healing from forgetting is not about fixing yourself. It's about meeting the parts of you that forgot and showing them they are still welcome. It's holding space for the version of you that had to survive. It's rewiring the nervous system not to expect danger when expressing truth. When safety is restored, remembrance is inevitable. You didn't fail by forgetting. It was part of the curriculum. But now that you know, the invitation is clear. Remember, not with your mind, but with your being. Your power was never lost. It was layered beneath survival. The field has always held your signature, and now, with each breath of awareness, you return to it whole, aligned, and awake. Frequency versus force. Tuning the inner dial. Force is loud, heavy, and exhausting. Frequency is subtle, precise, and magnetic. When you operate from force, you try to pry reality open with sheer will, convincing yourself that more pressure equals more progress. Yet the quantum field doesn't bend to volumate, bends to vibration. The harder you push, the more distortion you create, because the signal behind your effort whispers scarcity, even as your actions scream ambition. Frequency, on the other hand, is quiet alignment that speaks cleaner than any amount of hustle. Every time you grip an outcome, you tighten your nervous system and narrow your perceptual field. Creativity shrinks, intuition goes silent, and opportunities slide by unnoticed. Force is tunnel vision, a single path your mind thinks it must follow. Frequency is panoramic, an open channel that lets inspiration stream from directions your intellect can't predict. To tune the inner dial, you must soften your focus until listening becomes easier than striving. Imagine your desire as a radio station already broadcasting. Twisting the dial too aggressively only creates static. Gently fine-tuning locks you onto the clearest signal. Your thoughts are the micro-movements, but your emotional tone is the click that settles the needle into perfect reception. The moment you feel the click calm, centered, intuitive, you've stopped forcing and started resonating. Force relies on adrenaline. Frequency relies on coherence. Adrenaline is a short-term surge that taxes the body and clouds discernment. Coherence is the rhythm of a regulated heart and a steady breath, the biological evidence that you trust the field enough to partner with it. When your physiology relaxes, your electromagnetic signature sharpens, and the quantum mirror reflects that clarity with uncanny speed. We've been praised for effort since childhood: gold stars, grades, promotions, but no one celebrated the invisible art of alignment. School taught performance, the universe honors presence. Force is the habit of proving. Frequency is the practice of being. To rewire the habit, pause before acting and ask, am I performing to earn or aligning to attract? That single inquiry can shift your timeline. When you embody frequency, time stretches for you. Minutes feel spacious, tasks flow, and coincidences multiply. In force mode, time shrinks. You're always late, rushing, behind. That's not a scheduling problem, it's an energetic one. The field reflects your internal clock. Slow the breath, widen the awareness, and watch external time bend to match your internal ease. There is a humility in choosing frequency, because it means admitting the intellect alone is not enough. It's an invitation to let the field participate. Force says, I must figure everything out. Frequency says, I'll hold the vibration while the how arranges itself. This surrender is not laziness. It's tactical brilliance in a cosmos that organizes around resonance. Notice how your body feels when you force. Shoulders forward, jaw tight, breath shallow. Now notice frequency. Spine tall, chest open, breath deep. The posture of alignment sends biomechanical feedback to the brain that you are safe to receive. Your physiology becomes the instrument tuning itself to the song of the reality you prefer. Force inflates the ego and drains the soul. Frequency nourishes both by letting the soul lead and the ego serve. When you're tuned, your ego becomes an asset-focused, present, but not panicked. Creativity surges because energy isn't wasted on doubt. In this state, ideas land fully formed, decisions feel obvious, and action feels like surfing rather than swimming upstream. To shift from force to frequency, practice micro moments of stillness throughout the day. 1 intentional breath before an email. 5 seconds of hand to heart before a meeting. Each pause resets the dial, reminding your system that alignment outranks acceleration. Over time, these pauses compound into a new baseline of coherence that power never could buy. Your future timeline, the one where desires manifest, effortlessly operates on the frequency of trust, not the frequency of tension. It's already transmitting, waiting for you to match. No amount of force can drag that timeline closer. Only tuning can collapse the distance. The inner dial is yours alone to command, and every gentle adjustment echoes across the field in real time. So the next time you feel the urge to push, remember, the universe is a soundboard, not a wall. You can slam your fists and create noise, or you can refine your tone and let the music carry. Becoming the signal means releasing the hammer of effort and picking up the tuning fork of presence. When the note is pure, the field cannot help but sing it back. The mirror principle. Life echoes your broadcast. Every moment, whether you're aware of it or not, you're transmitting a frequency into the quantum field. That frequency formed by your dominant thoughts, emotions, and beliefs acts like a signal. And life, without judgment or delay, responds in kind. It does not respond to your desires alone, but to the energy behind them. If you're vibrating lack while wishing for abundance, the mirror of reality simply reflects the lack back to you. This is not punishment, it's feedback. The mirror principle reveals a hard truth. Life is not happening to you, it's responding through you. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner state. It echoes back what you're being more than what you're doing. You can visualize all day long, but if your baseline emotional state contradicts your vision, the signal remains mixed. Clarity within creates clarity without. The field is precise, matches coherence, not confusion. Many people look at their current reality and try to change it with force, more action, more control, more hustle. But this approach tries to fix the mirror instead of shifting the reflection. The mirror can't lie. It only ever shows you what's already being projected. If you want a new image to appear, you must change the signal from within, not the surface conditions outside. Think about a radio. You don't blame the radio for playing the wrong song, you simply tune to a different station. Your reality is no different. If you don't like what's playing in your life, don't fight the music, shift the frequency. That starts with awareness. What emotional station have you been broadcasting? Fear, doubt, guilt, or trust, peace, and gratitude? The mirror doesn't understand language, it understands vibration. You can say you're confident, but if you're still carrying self-doubt in your nervous system, the mirror reflects the doubt. You can affirm love, but if you vibrate unworthiness, the relationships you attract will echo that. This is why words without alignment often fall flat. They're empty broadcasts. Emotional honesty is the first step to shifting the signal. Not pretending you feel high vibe when you don't, but becoming aware of what you're actually emitting. When you stop judging yourself for where you are, you create space to rise naturally. The mirror doesn't punish weakness. It reflects it so you can see what needs to be healed and realigned. This is the sacred gift of the mirror. There's immense power in choosing to become the vibration of what you seek before it arrives. Not just thinking the thought, but feeling the state, embodying the identity. This is how the mirror begins to shift. Not because you're begging it to, but because you've become someone who no longer needs to chase, only to receive. Reality changes when you do. You've seen this before, times when everything felt aligned, when synchronicities occurred, when life flowed effortlessly. That wasn't a fluke. That was you transmitting a clear signal. And when it stops flowing, it's not because the universe turned against you. It's simply showing you the static in your transmission. The lesson is always the same. Recalibrate the inside. If you want different results, you have to become a different transmitter. Not overnight, not perfectly, but consistently. The mirror rewards sincerity, not performance. You can't fake coherence. The moment you truly feel the state of peace, or joy, or certainty, you've tuned the dial. And when you sustain that signal long enough, the outer world must echo it back. Most people are stuck reacting to the mirror. They see lack and feel lack. They see conflict and absorb it. But this only amplifies the unwanted broadcast. The master learns to lead the signal, to hold the state regardless of what's being shown. And in doing so, they shift the entire reflection. You don't wait for change to feel different. You feel different to initiate change. The mirror principle is not about blame, it's about power. It puts the creative authority back in your hands. No longer are you a victim of chance. You are the frequency holder. Your vibration is the brush painting your world. The question is not whether the mirror works. The question is, what are you broadcasting now? So pause, breathe, and ask yourself honestly, what is life reflecting back to me right now? Not as judgment, but as feedback. Then ask, what frequency would I need to embody for that reflection to evolve? That is the power of the mirror. It shows you not what you wish, but who you are. Change the signal, and the reflection becomes inevitable. Re-establishing the signal. Breath, stillness, coherence. In the noise of modern life, it's easy to forget the truth. You are always transmitting. Your thoughts, emotions, and energy patterns are constantly sending out a vibrational signal to the field around you. But when that signal becomes scattered, polluted by stress, fear, or distraction, what you receive back becomes just as fragmented. Re-establishing the signal begins with simplicity. It begins with breath. Breath is your anchor. It's the one force that bridges the unconscious and the conscious. When your thoughts race and your emotions spiral, returning to slow, intentional breath immediately begins to recalibrate your system. You can't breathe deeply and remain in panic. You can't breathe consciously and stay disconnected. Your breath is the tuning fork that starts the process of coherence. Stillness isn't just the absence of motion, it's the presence of awareness. In stillness, your energy stops reacting and starts realigning. Most people wait for clarity to act, but clarity often waits for silence. In stillness, you begin to hear your own frequency again. The external world fades, and your internal compass comes back online. It's here the signal begins to rebuild clean, strong, and aligned. The nervous system is the gateway. If it's in survival mode, the signal you emit is jagged and defensive. But when you create a state of safety through breath and stillness, you invite coherence. Coherence is when your mind, heart, and body all speak the same language. It's not forced positivity, it's emotional honesty paired with energetic alignment. Coherence doesn't mean perfection, it means harmony. When your thoughts are aligned with your intentions, when your emotions support your beliefs, when your actions reflect your desires, that's coherence. And the field listens, not to what you say, but to what your whole being is resonating. Incoherence sends static. Coherence sends a clear message. When you feel disconnected from your vision or manifestation feels blocked, it's not always about doing more. Often it's a sign to poseto, return to stillness and breath. These aren't passive tools. They are recalibration devices. They remind your body of safety, your heart of peace, and your mind of clarity. And from that state, your signal becomes magnetic again. Most people underestimate how much their environment influences their signal. Noise, pressure, digital distractions, these can all subtly distort your frequency. But when you make space each day to disconnect from chaos and reconnect to presence, you begin to reclaim your broadcast. Stillness isn't a luxury, it's the power source of the conscious creator. Breath brings you into the now. Stillness brings you into awareness. And coherence brings you into alignment. These three together form a sacred trinity that returns your power not by making you more forceful, but by making you more resonant. The field responds to resonance. That's why when you're in alignment, results often feel effortless. You don't have to be high vibe all the time, but you do need to be real. Coherence begins with honesty. If you're afraid, breathe into it. If you're tense, sit in stillness with it. Not to fix it, but to become aware of it. Awareness transforms frequency more than affirmation ever will. When you witness your own energy without judgment, it begins to reorganize on its own. The most powerful shifts often come in quiet moments, not in action, but in being. A single breath of awareness can interrupt a lifetime of unconscious broadcasting. A moment of stillness can remind you who you truly are, beyond fear, beyond programming. And when that remembrance arises, your signal becomes unmistakable. The quantum field is always listening, but it hears not your words, it hears your coherence. That's why you can't fake surrender. You can't pretend peace, but you can embody it, one breath at a time, one still moment at a time. And as you do, Your reality begins to match the upgraded signal you're now emitting. So return to breath, return to stillness, and from that place, choose coherence. Not because it guarantees immediate results, but because it makes you the version of yourself that doesn't need to chase anymore. When you reestablish your signal, your future doesn't feel far away. It begins to feel familiar because you're already in sync with it. Embodiment rituals. Acting from the future self now. You are not here to wait for the future. You are here to embody it now. Manifestation is not about someday. It's about becoming the version of yourself who already lives the outcome. The bridge between where you are and where you want to be is not built with force. It's built with embodiment. And embodiment happens through small intentional rituals that signal to your nervous system. This is who I am now. Every morning is a doorway to a new identity. Begin your day not with checking your circumstances, but by checking your frequency. Ask yourself, how would my future self breathe, speak, and walk into this day? Then do that. Don't perform it. Feel it. This isn't a show. It's a realignment. One breath in alignment is more powerful than hours of action in misalignment. Ritual doesn't have to be grand. It can be how you make your bed with presence, how you eat with intention, or how you speak to yourself when no one's listening. Every act becomes sacred when it is charged with consciousness. The future self doesn't live in someday. It lives in every now where you choose to rise above your old identity and act with clarity. To live as the future self is to let go of the timeline. You're not waiting for the thing to arrive, you're letting it arrive because you've already become the version of you who receives it. When you drink your morning tea as the version of you who is already peaceful, abundant, and grounded, the field mirrors that frequency. The act is ordinary. The energy behind it is quantum. Most people ask, what should I do? But the more powerful question is, who would I be if I already had it? That question rewires your habits, your tone, your posture, even your decision-making. It upgrades your default settings. Embodiment is not about pretending, it's about remembering. You're not faking a future. You're activating a forgotten part of yourself. Take one ritual each day and fill it with frequency. A morning affirmation, a silent walk, a gratitude journal. These are not routines for discipline. They are portals to identity. Your rituals are how you remind the quantum field. I am already her. I am already him. Not because of what you own, but because of how you operate. Identity isn't given, it's chosen. When challenges arise, don't react from the old self, respond from the future self. That shift in behavior is a frequency upgrade. It tells the field, this is my standard now. And the universe, precise as it is, doesn't reward struggle, it reflects consistency. Keep broadcasting that upgraded signal, and reality recalibrates around your new embodiment. What you repeatedly do, you become. So if your rituals are rooted in lack, in rushing, in proving, then the field echoes back more of that. But if your actions drip with intention, if your speech matches your truth, if your habits are sculpted by who you're becoming, then manifestation isn't a hope, it's an alignment. Acting from the future self isn't about faking confidence or pretending abundance. It's about tuning in to the version of you who already lives it, and letting that version guide your present moment. That's how timelines collapse. That's how new outcomes emerge. Not by striving harder, but by vibrating wiser. Let your environment reflect your embodiment. Clean your space like someone who values their sanctuary. Dress like someone who honors their worth. Speak like someone whose words shape energy. You don't have to wait to become the person you admire. Start showing up as them now, not for validation, but because it's already true. Presence is the container for all transformation. When you're fully in your body, fully in your breath, and fully in your choice, you're already in the field. The future doesn't come from more hustle. It comes from deeper coherence. Your rituals are not boxes to check, they're frequencies to emit. So choose one thing today, one act, done not from habit but from embodiment. Pour energy into it. Move like your future self. Speak like your aligned self. Be still like your healed self. Because when you act from that place, the field doesn't need convincing. It responds instantly, quietly, precisely, clearing static, releasing fear, doubt, and past timelines. Your energy field is like a signal tower constantly broadcasting a frequency. But if that signal is filled with static fear, self-doubt, unresolved past timelines, the quantum field receives a distorted message. The result? Delayed manifestations, repeated patterns, and a reality that feels stuck. Before you can align with your future, you must clear the interference from your past. Fear is not the enemy. Unconscious fear is. When you don't see the fear that's running in the background, it silently hijacks your vibration. It whispers, "You're not ready. You're not worthy. It's too late." These whispers become commands to the quantum field, not because you mean to send them, but because that's what you're energetically broadcasting. Doubt corrodes coherence. You might visualize the dream, say the affirmations, and set intentions, but if underneath, you're vibrating in hesitation or disbelief, the signal is fragmented. The field doesn't respond to what you hope is true. It responds to what you feel is certain. And doubt, even in small doses, creates delay. Your nervous system stores the residue of old timelines. When you were rejected, abandoned, humiliated, or betrayed, those moments left vibrational imprints. If they go unprocessed, they continue to loop, like a song stuck on repeat. You're not consciously replaying them, but energetically, they're shaping your now. To clear static, you must feel what you've been avoiding. Not to indulge the pain, but to release it. When you bring presence to the parts of you that are still frozen in old moments, you liberate trapped energy. That energy becomes available again to fuel your now, not bind you to before. This is emotional alchemy. Breath is the tool. Stillness is the amplifier. When you pause, breathe, and bring attention to what you're really feeling beneath the distractions, you make space for coherence to return. It's not about fixing what's broken. It's about listening to what's unresolved and letting it dissolve in awareness. Let go of the story that healing has to take years. The moment you become conscious of the static, it starts to lose its grip. The field doesn't need you to be perfect, it needs you to be present. When you stop running from fear, doubt, and past pain, you stop giving them power. What you face, you free. Forgiveness is a frequency reset. Not just for others, for yourself. You are not the version of you who made those old choices. You are the one who is choosing now. When you forgive, you're not saying what happened was okay. You're saying you're no longer carrying the energetic weight of it. You're clearing the channel. Time doesn't heal, consciousness does. The past doesn't exist unless you keep recreating it through thought, emotion, and habit. You're not stuck because of what happened, you're stuck because your field is still vibrating in that echo. Choose presence. Choose a new broadcast. One of the most powerful ways to clear old timelines is to stop identifying with them. You are not your past. You are not your trauma. You are not your doubt. You are the observer, the one who can shift signal. When you stop rehearsing the wound and start rehearsing the truth, the field shifts with you. Energy healing is not a mystery. It's about coherence. When the static clears, clarity returns. You start to hear your intuition again. You begin to trust your knowing. You feel safe in your own energy. And from that place, your future doesn't feel far, it feels familiar, because you've made room for it. Release isn't a one-time act, it's a practice. Just like you brush your teeth to keep your body clean, you must clear your energy daily. Through movement, stillness, journaling, breath, or simply naming what you feel, each act becomes a declaration. I'm not bound to my past. I'm tuned to my future. So pause. Take a deep breath. Feel what's ready to leave. It doesn't need more analysis, just your permission to go. And as it leaves, notice the silence beneath it. That silence isn't emptiness, it's clarity. It's the sound of your clean signal, finally ready to be heard. That's when your future responds. Living in the broadcast. Trust, action, and quantum confirmation. The moment you decide to live from your future rather than wait for it, you step into the broadcast. It's not about imagining a better life one day, it's about embodying its energy now. The quantum field listens not to your desires, but to the frequency you emit through your thoughts, emotions, and actions. The future is already coded in your being, waiting for alignment. Trust is the first frequency, not blind hope, but deep knowing. You don't need to see evidence to believe. You believe, and then the evidence begins to arrive. That's how the quantum field works. When you radiate the signal of trust, the field mirrors it back with synchronicities, confirmations, and timely nudges. Doubt delays. Trust aligns. Your nervous system must learn to feel safe in the unknown. Most people unconsciously contract in uncertainty. They seek control. But in the quantum model, control is limitation. Letting go doesn't mean passivity. It means allowing a greater intelligence to move through you. Action still happens, but it's born from resonance, not fear. The more you trust, the more confident your signal becomes. You're no longer leaking energy chasing outcomes. You're rooted in the present, vibrating the outcome before it shows up. This internal shift changes how you move. You speak differently, breathe differently, behave differently because you're already becoming the version of you who has it. Quantum confirmation begins subtly. A conversation lines up perfectly. An opportunity lands in your path. You think of someone and they call. These aren't coincidences, they're confirmations. The field is whispering, yes, keep going. You're in alignment. These signs aren't random, they're the feedback of resonance. Living in the broadcast means you stop asking for proof and start offering presence. You stop waiting and start radiating. Instead of praying for change, you become the embodiment of the change. That embodiment becomes the signal the universe responds to consistently, powerfully, and without exception. Your choices are the proof of your frequency. You don't wait for motivation, you move in alignment. You don't ask if it's working, you trust that it is, even before results arrive. This is what separates those who manifest deliberately from those who live reactively. The broadcast is a declaration. I already am. Your future doesn't arrive when you earn. It arrives when you match it. Matching isn't about perfection, it's about coherence. Are your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors all telling the same story? If they are, your broadcast is clean and the field responds with clarity. Resistance is natural, but it's not permanent. When you notice fear or hesitation arise, don't suppress, observe it. Ask, is this the signal I want to strengthen? You always have a choice. Contract or expand. In every moment, your field is listening. Are you broadcasting alignment or avoidance? Quantum living is not about controlling every outcome. It's about aligning with the intelligence that already knows. When you live from the broadcast, you let go of timelines. You stop asking when and start anchoring in now. That's where all power is found, not in someday, in presence. You become magnetic when your energy stops contradicting itself. No more saying one thing and vibrating another. No more wanting abundance while rehearsing lack. No more dreaming of love while embodying unworthiness. When you clean up your signal, reality reorganizes in your favor. This path requires courage. It's easier to repeat old patterns, react to what is, and stay in the comfort of the known. But you're not here for comfort, you're here for alignment. And alignment often means shedding the past, releasing control, and trusting what you cannot yet see. The broadcast doesn't demand performance, demands presence. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove anything. You need only embody the version of you that knows. And the field, the mirror of consciousness, will meet you there, without fail. Quantum confirmation is not loud. It's subtle, soft, and consistent. The world might not understand your calm. They might question your certainty. But the field knows. And when you live in that knowing, your results speak louder than your explanations ever could. You are not here to chase. You are here to calibrate. You're not waiting for miracles. You are the miracle when your signal becomes coherent. And that coherence starts with choosing your state of being moment by moment, breath by breath. Every time you choose trust over doubt, action over hesitation, embodiment over avoidance, you tune the dial. You strengthen the broadcast. The field begins to echo your signal back through people, places, and timing that feels like alignment. Because it is. This is the essence of living in the broadcast. You become the version of you who doesn't need to ask anymore. You are the answer. You are the signal. You are the one who stopped waiting and started becoming. The field reflects that without delay. Your rituals, habits, and internal dialogue either sharpen the signal or distort it. Choose practices that align you with peace, power, and presence. This is not spiritual fluff, it's frequency management. And it changes everything. If your life feels out of sync, ask yourself, what am I rehearsing emotionally? Not what you say, what you feel most often. That's your true signal. Your results don't lie, they simply mirror your baseline frequency. Living in the broadcast means you lead with energy first. You show up as the one who already has it, without needing the world to confirm it. And when you do that, the world begins to reflect back what you've already become. You are the signal. You are the message. You are the quantum instruction being read by the field in every breath. And when you remember that, there is no need to wait. The future is not coming, it's being emitted, right now, through you. You were never meant to force your way into alignment. You were meant to return to it. The quantum field is not activated by effort, desperation, or control. It responds to clarity, coherence, and embodiment. You are not here to beg reality for a better life. You are here to broadcast the frequency of the life that already exists for you in the field. Every moment you choose peace over panic, presence over performance, being over seeking, you step deeper into alignment with the version of you who already lives the reality you desire. That version isn't far away. It's a vibration, and you've just remembered how to match it. So pause, breathe, let go of the need to chase. Because when you become the signal, the field has no choice but to reflect it. If this message stirred something in you, subscribe and comment. I am the frequency, because the universe is always listening, not to your words, but to your vibration.